Thank you, Peg, for this amazing introduction, and thank you, Peg, for this amazing press. This is the third year the books have been, well, yeah, I should repeat something. I actually met Peg for the first time at San Francisco Writers' Workshop about 10 years ago, and that was under the guidance of Tamim Ansari, who's right here. So, I'll jump in. So I'm reading the title story today. It's the penultimate story in the collection. It's fiction, and I'm only reading the opening of the story. Like water. I'm nearly 42 and happily married. 2 children. We live in a university town in Southern California where my husband is a tenured professor of atmospheric science, and I teach undergraduate courses in Russian literature and culture. Which is to say, even though I left the Soviet Union at 15, my heritage still takes up the greater part of who I am. When asked, "Where are you from?" I invariably answer, "Leningrad." Imagine, you're sitting in the back row of a theater that once upon a time had been a palace, but now half of the chairs are broken, the plaster is peeling from the ceiling, sections of the balcony railing are missing, and as the performance begins, the curtain catches and a workman in blue overalls comes out to yank it open. You're 15. The outing to see Eugene Onegin, the opera, is a school thing. You've studied the Pushkin novel. You and most of your classmates are familiar with the score. It airs on TV and radio several times a year. On stage, the soprano confesses her love for the baritone. She's in her boudoir, a faithful reconstruction of a 19th century country house, sans the fourth wall. Tatiana writes a letter to Eugene, with whom she's fallen in love. She dwells on the moment of their first meeting. Eugene is a rare visitor from the capital and charms her by his very presence. In starts and fits, she describes her passion. She alternates between blessing and cursing her fate. You know that this is going to end badly for her, and yet there's a moment when the Tchaikovsky score swoops you up and fills your heart with hope for Tatiana. Suffering, aching, the singer throws her feather pen on the desk, and the desk collapses. The whole bedroom set crashes magnificently around her, the walls by pure luck falling away from the singer. Dust rises from the stage. In the back row, your friend on the left is laughing so hard the chair gives way beneath her. The seat comes off its hinges and falls to the floor, and she falls with it, causing a ruckus and a renewed bout of laughter. What a disaster! What a treat! An opera so dead that it's literally falling to pieces is suddenly turned into a masterful art form as the singers' voices soar above the ruin, struggling to communicate the ineffable something to a multitude of teenage barbarians gathered in the dark. And yet, even as a 15-year-old, I knew that the joy my friends and I shared was the other side of terror, born of the spectacle of degradation and loss. A star bursts, an empire falls, a ball of fire streaks across the sky. For us, its witnesses, it could be a once-in-a-lifetime event. This could also be the start of the blaze that would consume our lives. The year was 1990, the future impossible to tell. Today is June 9th, 2017. A few days ago, there was a meme going around social media in which people recalled moments in their lives when they laughed the hardest. I posted that story from the Leningrad theater. I did my best to keep it brief, yet describe the scene in some detail for my American friends. I was gratified when my friends, those who had shared the experience with me, saw my post and commented on it. Katya wrote first. She said, "It's a wonder I wasn't hurt when the chair fell." Katya, now a lawyer, has become increasingly nervous over the years. She's had a difficult life. Shortly after university, she married one of her classmates, had a daughter, divorced, and married another classmate. With him, she also had a daughter. Both girls are named Eugenia. If I had to guess, Katya allowed each of her husbands to pick the name. She doesn't find this funny. I presume there is no specific connection to Eugene Onegin. Tanya, my friend from kindergarten, the one who was on my right during the show, became a botanist and married a colleague from Norway. She's a mycologist who lives above the Arctic Circle. Her daughter, a year younger than my eldest, turned 16 this year. Tanya, too, commented on my post. She wrote, "I remember that day so well. You kept making me laugh. I was enamored of the casual way you treated something as solemn as Onegin. That was the moment I fell in love with you." When I read this comment, the hair at the back of my neck stood up. "How do you mean this?" I typed. She responded 8 hours later, no thanks to time zones. "I mean it," she said. "Please say more." "I don't know if there is more. We can talk about it in person one day." What the hell was Tanya talking about? She'd said something and then said it again, yet her words left me completely confused. I'd been sitting in front of my computer for 3 days straight, grading student work and browsing social media, trying to lose myself among other people's stories. My husband and children have gone on a camping trip, and I have the house to myself, if not my mind. I've corrected 100 Russian adjectives to the proper declension. I've worked on 200 verbs. I'm completely caught up on the latest gossip about the Trump and Putin bromance. Tanya, could she possibly be talking of having had physical interest, or desiring me in body and spirit? Why would she be confessing this now and following such a random prompt? Perhaps what she means is simply that she loves me as a friend, which isn't news. Sure, I love her too. We are friends. We've been friends all these years. We've had the opportunity to reminisce about our childhood and to bond over Katya's increasing strangeness. Personally, I'm still hung up on Katya naming both of her daughters Eugenia. What a way to brand the girls with their mother's insufficiently examined past. All I can do, it seems, is to sit here and stare at the churning engine of history. Tanya, she must have meant it casually. But the longer I think about it, the more moments from our past emerge. The occasional touch, the look, the unexpectedly tender words. I call Tanya on Skype, looking at her profile snapshot as my computer simulates the dial tone. There had always been something bird-like in her profile, and lately her features have become sharper, more definite. She doesn't answer. Is she busy? Is she avoiding this conversation? Both, I decide. As an experiment, I imagine caressing her lips with mine, touching her body through the sweaters she's always wearing. In my mind, her face expresses pleasure and longing at my touch. I hang up and turn off my computer and go to the living room where I turn the TV on and off. It's mid-afternoon and going outside is off limits, too hot. This Californian desert seems like a particularly grotesque place to be right now. And yet it's home. The kids are coming home tonight and they expect me to quiz them on their adventure. Did Tanya really mean girl and girl love? Could she have? This feels crazy. At the age of 42, I have the honor to consider what my life might have been like were I aware at the age of 15 that women did not need to marry men, that they could love each other and live with each other and raise children with each other. What would my life have been like if I'd heard of a woman openly living with another woman, if I'd met women raising children together, if I'd known a single person who responded to women caught loving women with simple acceptance? A half-forgotten image from 1990 emerges, a memory of something I glimpsed, a vivid fantasy, a jumbled movie track, two girls sucking each other's tongues in the dark, barely heated entryway of an unfamiliar apartment building, becoming so weak in the knees that they collapse onto the concrete stairs and startling each time they hear a noise. They seek each other's closeness as protection from possible intrusion, jamming into each other's breasts, twisting the nipples, trying to navigate the folds of winter clothing to locate each other's splits. And then what? From that entryway, they go where? Do they hold hands? Do they keep seeing each other? Imagining what girl love must have looked like back then is like trying to construct a fucking parallel universe. I know, I've heard stories since then. I know some girls got away with this. I still don't know how they had the guts to attempt it.